All right, let's now get into this completely wacky Tucker Carlson interview. Tucker Carlson completely cucked Ted Cruz. Now, some of you find that phrase, that term, graphic and inappropriate. It is a proverbial cucking, but it is a cucking nonetheless. Let's take a look at it.
So we played this tape for you last time. We were surprised by it. We prefaced it by saying every conservative appreciates Ted Cruz because he's one of the smartest and most articulate people in the Congress, and he's conservative. But he referred publicly to what happened on January 6th as, quote, a violent terror attack. Here it is.
Yeah.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives.
It's actually the rare, sensible statement from Ted Cruz, and he ends up having to go and grovel to Tucker.
To defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
Senator Cruz was game enough to come on tonight. We appreciate that. He joins us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. So I guess I mean, there are a lot of dumb people in the Congress.
Yes, exactly.
You're not one of them. I think you're smarter than I am. And you never use words carelessly.
This is legendary cuckoldry.
And yet you called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack. That's a lie. You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
Oh, man. This is incredible.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because...
Please let me go on and apologize. Please, Tucker, don't blacklist me. I'll say I'm sorry.
The way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that. Whoa. I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant. Let me tell you what I meant to say.
Right.
What I was referring to are the limited number of people who engaged in violent attacks against police officers. Now, I think you and I both agree that if you assault a police officer, you should go to jail.
Sure.
That's who I was talking about. And the reason the phrasing was sloppy is I have talked dozens, if not hundreds of times. I've drawn a distinction. I wasn't saying that the thousands of peaceful protesters supporting Donald Trump are somehow terrorists. I wasn't saying the millions of patriots across the country supporting President Trump are terrorists, and that's what a lot of people have misunderstood that comment.
Wait a second, but hold on. What you just said doesn't make sense. So if somebody assaults a cop, he should be charged and go to jail. I couldn't agree more. We've said that for years. But that person's still not a terrorist. How many people have been charged with terrorism?
Now, that's really a red herring, because very often in events that we would all agree were terrorist events, it's common that by the time you get to charges, the charges aren't for literal terrorism. That's very, very common. In fact, I think let me not say, there's even more detail to look at when you're considering state charges as to what it even means to be charged for terrorism. I don't want to get into it because I don't have the information in front of me, but that doesn't really tell us much.
On January 6th. Like, why'd you use that word? You're playing into the other side's characterization that, as Joe Kent just explained, allows them to define an entire population as foreign combatants. And you know that. So why'd you do it?
So Tucker, let me answer you directly. The reason I use that word for a decade, I have referred to people who violently assault police officers as terrorists. I've done so over and over and over again. If you look at all the assaults we've seen across the country, I've called that terrorism over and over again. That being said, Tucker, I agree with you. It was a mistake to say that yesterday.
I was a bad boy.
And the reason is what you just said, which is we've now had a year of Democrats in the media twisting words and trying to say that all of us are terrorists, trying to say you're a terrorist, I'm a terrorist.
Matt, like, what does this have to do with what he said? This is crazy.
And so, look, I don't like people who assault cops, and I stand up and defend cops, and the reason I use that word is that's the word I've always used for people that violently attack cops. But in this context, I get why people were angry because we've had a year of
Tucker, don't you see he's groveling and apologizing? Let the guy do it with his dignity.
the corrupt corporate media and Democrats claiming anyone who objected to the election fraud. And by the way, remember what was happening during those protests?
Can I just ask, hold on, you work in the, I guess I just don't believe you. And I mean that with respect, because I have such respect for your acuity.
This is tough love. This is daddy doing tough love on his son because he's got to teach him. You can't do your games in the Senate anymore, Ted.
And your precision, and I've seen it on display. I've covered you as a reporter. I know how you speak. And you have sat there for a year and watched people use language to distort the events of that day. Intentionally. Insurrection. Coup.
Of course it
terrorism.
wasn't an insurrection. Saying it's an insurrection is a political term. It's a lie.
It's sort of like literally the definition of insurrection.
I've repeatedly denounced it. And when it comes to...
Ted Cruz has denounced calling it an insurrection much more than he's denounced the actual insurrection.
Look, I was focusing on what I normally say. That what you aired was a little 15-second snippet. What I normally say is violence is wrong, peaceful protest is right. If you engage in violence, you should be prosecuted. If you're speaking, you have a right to speak. I say that all the time.
Well, I meant, and I
say
agree.
In that snippet.
So who's Ray Epps, by the way, since you are a senator? Like, he and this other guy are clearly encouraging the crowd to commit crimes.
We're going to get to this.
Neither one has been arrested or charged. What is that, do you think?
So I think that is a very good question. I don't know who Ray Epps is. I've seen that video multiple times.
So let me talk about, let's do the Ray Epps. Oh, man, I wasn't even going to do this, but they're doing it. Let me see what we've got here. Okay, let me tell you about Ray Epps. All right. Oh God, they want me to disable ads. I guess I'll do it. Okay. Oh my God. That's why I have ads on, turned off. Who is Ray Epps? The conspiratorial claim that the attack on the U.S. Capitol was a false flag conducted by federal agents hinges largely on the identity of one man. Okay. On January 5th, a man was filmed encouraging people to go peacefully to the Capitol the following day. Video didn't make much noise at the time, but in the ensuing weeks, this person identified as Ray Epps became a central figure in a conspiracy theory claiming the federal agents provoked the attack on the Capitol, which prompted readers to search for information about him on Snopes. So who is Ray Epps? Is he a federal agent? Is there evidence to support these claims? Epps is the owner of the Naughty Barn, a wedding and event venue in Queen Creek, Arizona. According to the Daily Mail, he's 60 and a retired U.S. Marine. Epps is also a Trump supporter and appears to have long-running ties to the Oath Keepers, a far-right anti-government militia that formed shortly after the election of Obama. Epps is listed as the president of the Arizona chapter of the Oath Keepers. Was Epps at the Capitol on January 6th? Epps told Arizona Central he did travel to D.C. for Stop the Steal. Photos have captured him in the area. The night before, he's telling a crowd, go into the Capitol. He said, I'm going to put it out there. I'll probably go to jail for it. Tomorrow we need to go into the Capitol peaceably, peacefully. We are freedom. We are peaceful. That's what it's about. It's not about hurting people. As he makes these remarks, people can be heard chanting Fed. Here's the video.
So I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No! Peacefully. Fed. Peacefully.
Okay, good. Is Epps a federal agent? There is no evidence to indicate Epps is a federal agent or was working with the government. Claims to that effect are based largely on the fact that he wasn't arrested. The argument goes, Epps, who can be seen encouraging people to go to the Capitol, escaped prosecution because supposedly he's a federal agent. In the above displayed video, according to the conspiracy, Epps made the statements on behalf of the government to encourage Trump supporters to storm the Capitol so they could be arrested. But there's a much simpler explanation. As of this writing, the U.S. Department of Justice and FBI have arrested more than 725 people for their involvement in the Capitol attack. They focused on individuals who unlawfully entered the Capitol building. As of this writing, there's no indication Epps made his way into the Capitol. When asked about his comments, he told AZ Central, "I didn't do anything wrong. The only thing that meant is we could go in the doors like everyone else. It was totally, totally wrong the way they went in." From the footage available, it appears Epps was at the rally, but he didn't go into the Capitol or engage in violence. One video actually shows Epps trying to de-escalate a fight, and here is that video.
I would have came locked and loaded if I knew this was happening. Take a step back. Take a step back. We're holding ground. We're not trying to get people hurt. They don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get hurt. Just back up.
So that's the whole story. The investigation's not over. That could change. Was Epps once listed on the list of suspects? In the days following the attack, the FBI released a series of videos and photographs as help identifying people. A photograph appearing to show Epps was included in one of the first batches of images. This is Epps here in the bottom left. As of this writing, it was no longer on the website. Some have claimed it's more proof he was an undercover FBI agent. It could be just as reasonable that they realized he didn't actually go, and commit any crime, so we're not looking at him. So it's an assertion, and there is not actually any evidence for it. All right, let's watch a little more of this.
It's disturbing. He's clearly urging the crowd to violate the law. When you see the crowd start chanting, "Fed, Fed, Fed," for him to appear on the FBI's most wanted list and come off, it's certainly...
And correct me if I'm wrong, it was not the FBI's most wanted list, right? It was just a seeking information. Like, even that's a literal lie from Ted Cruz. These are wanted seeking information. He wasn't on the top 10. Most wanted makes it sound like he was up there with bin Laden.
Yes, he was working for the FBI. That's not conclusive, but that's the obvious implication.
There's no evidence of that. So Ted Cruz, seemingly to get back in Tucker Carlson's good graces after being brutally cucked, starts just jumping in and saying, "Of course, Tucker, your conspiracy theories look like they're very, very accurate. Very, very accurate." All right, so that's that.